The ship landed on the Valari homeworld just as the three suns began to set. Commander Yuna stepped out and felt the hot wind push against her face. The air smelled like iron and smoke. This was a planet built for hunters, not for humans. Yuna was not a soldier. She was not a scientist. She was a kindergarten teacher from Bisan who had somehow ended up in the Galactic Education Corps. When the council asked for volunteers to teach the Valari cubs, everyone laughed. The Valari were monsters. Their children killed each other for fun. No teacher had ever survived more than a week. Yuna had raised 3 younger brothers. She was not afraid of difficult children. The Valari compound sat at the edge of a black mountain. The walls were made of bones, actual bones, from animals the Valari had hunted over thousands of years. Guards stood at the gate. They were massive creatures standing 3 meters tall on 8 powerful legs. Their bodies were covered in thick gray fur, and their eyes looked like diamonds set in shadow. Each guard had claws longer than Yuna's arm. They looked at the small human woman and did not move. "I am here for the cubs," Yuna said. Her voice was calm and clear. The guards exchanged looks. One of them made a sound that might have been laughter. They let her pass. Inside the compound, the nursery was chaos. 12 Valari cubs ran in circles, screaming and biting and scratching. They were the size of earth wolves, but faster and stronger. One cub had pinned another to the ground and was trying to tear off its ear. 2 more were fighting over a piece of raw meat. The rest were destroying everything they could find. The Valari matriarch stood in the corner, watching. Her name was Thesa, and she was ancient. Her fur had turned white with age, but her eyes were still sharp. She had raised hundreds of cubs. She had seen many of them die in training. This was the Valari way. "You are the human teacher," Thesa said. It was not a question. Yes. Yuna set down her bag and looked at the cubs. "They are beautiful." Thesa stared at her. No one had ever called Valari cubs beautiful. "They will kill you," Thesa said. "They do not understand gentleness. They only understand strength." Yuna smiled. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small box. Inside were sheets of holographic stickers. Stars in gold and silver. Hearts in pink and red. Smiley faces in bright yellow. They sparkled in the dim light of the nursery. Thesa had never seen anything so useless in her entire life. "What are those?" she asked. "Tools," Yuna said. The cubs had noticed the human now. They stopped fighting and turned to look at her. Their diamond eyes were curious but dangerous. The largest cub, a male named Bora, stepped forward. He was already showing the marks of a future warrior. His claws were longer than the others, and his fur was darker. He growled low in his throat. Yuna did not step back. "Hello, Bora," she said. She had memorized all their names from the files. "You are very big and strong." Bora did not know what to do with this. Humans were supposed to run. They were supposed to scream. This one just stood there, smiling. Behind Bora, a smaller cub watched from the shadows. Her name was Kira. She was the runt of the litter, smaller and weaker than the others. The other cubs picked on her constantly. She had learned to hide, to stay quiet, to survive. Yuna saw her. "Kira," she called gently. "Will you come here?" Kira hesitated. The other cubs never called her name except to mock her. But something in the human's voice was different. It was warm. It was safe. Slowly, Kira walked forward. Yuna knelt down so she was at eye level with the cub. "I have a game," she said. "Do you want to play?" She pulled out 3 colored blocks from her bag, red, blue, and yellow. She set them on the ground. "Can you stack them?" Yuna asked. "One on top of the other?" Kira looked at the blocks. She looked at Yuna. She did not understand why this mattered, but she wanted to try. Carefully, she pushed the red block with her paw. Then she placed the blue block on top. Then the yellow. The tower stood. "Perfect," Yuna said. Her voice was full of joy. "You did it, Kira." "That was wonderful." Kira felt something strange in her chest. No one had ever told her she did something wonderful. Yuna reached into her box and pulled out a single golden star sticker. It glowed with soft light, shifting between gold and silver. She leaned forward and pressed it gently onto Kira's forehead, right between her eyes. "This is for you," Yuna said. "Because you did a good job." Kira stood frozen. The sticker felt warm against her fur. She could see her reflection in the nursery window. The star sparkled on her head like a tiny sun. The entire compound had gone silent. Bora stared at his small sister. She was wearing something shiny. Something special. Something he did not have. Thesa watched from the corner. Her ancient heart beat faster. In all her years, she had never seen the cubs go quiet like this. They were not fighting. They were not screaming. They were looking at one small cub with a star on her head. Kira walked past her siblings slowly. She held her head high for the first time in her life. The star glittered with every step. She did not say anything. She did not need to. Bora watched her pass. His claws dug into the ground. He did not want to hurt her. He wanted something else. Something he had never wanted before. He wanted a star of his own, and he would do anything to get one. The next morning, Yuna arrived at the nursery before the suns rose. She expected to find the cubs sleeping in their usual pile, tangled together like a ball of fur and claws. Instead, she found Bora. He was sitting perfectly still in the middle of the room. His eyes were fixed on the door. He had been waiting for her. Yuna stopped. In all the reports she had read about Valari cubs, not one mentioned them sitting still. They were creatures of motion, of violence, of chaos. Sitting and waiting was not in their nature. "Good morning, Bora," she said carefully. Bora did not move. His diamond eyes shifted to her bag, then to her face, then back to her bag. He lifted one massive paw and pointed at his own forehead. Then he pointed at Kira, who was still sleeping in the corner. The golden star still stuck to her fur. He wanted a sticker. Yuna felt her heart warm. This was the moment she had been waiting for. She walked to the center of the room and sat down on the floor. She was so small compared to Bora. He could kill her with one swipe of his claws. But she was not afraid. "Bora," she said, "do you know why Kira got a star?" Bora tilted his head. He did not know. "She got a star because she did something good," Yuna explained. "She completed a task. She was patient. She tried her best." Bora processed this information. On his planet, rewards came from killing, from being the strongest, from making others fear you. The idea that you could earn something by being patient was completely new. "If you want a star," Yuna continued, "you have to earn it. Can you do that?" Bora's eyes narrowed. He had never backed down from a challenge in his short life. He nodded once, a sharp movement of his massive head. Yuna smiled and pulled out a large piece of paper. She taped it to the wall where everyone could see. At the top she wrote 3 words, "Classroom Rules." "Rule 1, she said, writing as she spoke. "No biting siblings." Bora's ears flattened. That was going to be difficult. "Rule 2, listen when the teacher speaks." This seemed easier. "Rule 3, try your best at every task." Bora could do that. He was the best at everything. "Rule 4, help others when they need it." This one made no sense. Why would he help others? That would make them stronger. That was dangerous, but he wanted a star. The other cubs began to wake up. They saw Bora sitting calmly near the human. They saw the paper on the wall. They saw that Kira's star was still shining on her forehead. Yuna spent the morning teaching them simple things. She taught them the alphabet using songs. She taught them to count using small stones. She taught them colors by having them sort blocks into piles. Bora threw himself into every task. When Yuna asked who could count to 10, his paw shot up first. When she asked who could find all the blue blocks, he searched the room with fierce determination. When she asked who could sit quietly for 1 full minute, he became a statue of gray fur and focused eyes. By midday, he had earned 2 stickers. 1 silver star for counting. 1 red heart for helping Duri, the slowest cub, find a yellow block. Bora wore them proudly on his chest. He walked past Kira slowly, making sure she saw. Kira's eyes went wide. He had 2 stickers now. She only had 1. Something sparked inside her small body. It was not anger. It was not fear. It was something new and hungry. She would not let him win. The next week became a battlefield without blood. Kira and Bora competed in everything. Who could write their name better? Who could stack blocks higher? Who could memorize more words? Who could sit still longer? Who could help more siblings? The other cubs watched in confusion at first. Then they began to understand. The stickers meant something. They meant you were good. They meant the teacher saw you. They meant you mattered. A cub named Hannah asked Yuna what she could do to earn a star. Yuna gave her a special task: teach her brother Tay how to hold a pencil. Hannah spent the entire afternoon working with Tay. When he finally wrote his first letter, Yuna gave them both a sticker. Hannah cried. She did not know why. She just felt so happy. Tay looked at his sticker and felt something break open in his chest. He had always been called stupid and slow. He had believed it. But now he had a star. Maybe he was not so stupid after all. The end of the second week, the nursery had transformed. Cubs who used to fight now studied. Cubs who used to scream now whispered. Cubs who used to destroy now created. Thesa watched from the shadows. She had stopped sleeping. She could not understand what was happening. Her cubs were not becoming weak. They were becoming something else. Something she had no word for. One evening she approached Yuna. "You are changing them," Thesa said. Her voice was strange, almost frightened. "I am teaching them," Yuna replied. "Teaching what?" "They do not fight anymore. They do not practice killing. What use are Valari who do not hunt?" Yuna looked at the matriarch with kind eyes. "They are hunting," she said. "Just not for blood," Thesa did not understand. "They are hunting for approval," Yuna explained. "For recognition. For the feeling that they matter. These are the most powerful hunts in the universe. Your cubs are not becoming weaker, matriarch. They are finding new strength." That night, Thesa watched Bora and Kira study their alphabet flashcards. They sat side by side, neither one willing to quit before the other. Their eyes burned with determination. They were still competing. Still fighting, just not with claws. The silent war had only begun. 1 month passed, and the Valari homeworld began to whisper about the human teacher. Warriors who had conquered planets came to watch through the nursery windows. They saw something impossible. 12 Valari cubs sat in neat rows, practicing their writing with careful claw strokes. No one was bleeding, no one was screaming. The silence was so deep it felt like a different world. Thesa stood among the watchers, her white fur now marked with new gray patches from worry and wonder. She had sent a report to the Galactic Council, but she did not know how to describe what she had seen. How do you explain that a species built for war had been transformed by small shiny stickers? Inside the nursery, Yuna walked between the rows of cubs. She checked their work and made small corrections. Her voice was soft and patient. "Beautiful letter, Dury. Your curve is much better today," Dury beamed. His tail wagged so hard it knocked over his water bowl. "Hannah, can you help Tay with his spelling? He is having trouble with the letter K." Hannah nodded and moved her seat closer to her brother. She did not complain. Helping others earned bonus stickers, and she had discovered that helping felt good even without the reward. At the front of the room, Bora and Kira sat at opposite ends. They did not look at each other. They did not need to. Each one knew exactly how many stickers the other had earned. Bora had 20-3. Kira had 20-4. The gap was small, but it burned in Bora's chest like fire. He had been the biggest and strongest cub his whole life. He had never lost anything. Now this tiny female, this runt he used to push around, was beating him. He did not hate her. That was the strangest part. He respected her. She worked harder than anyone. She studied when others slept. She practiced her letters until her claws ached. She earned every single sticker. Bora wanted to beat her, but he also wanted to be like her. This feeling confused him very much. Yuna noticed everything. She saw how the cubs had changed. She saw how they looked at each other now, not as enemies to defeat, but as rivals to respect. Competition was still in their blood. It would always be. But they had learned to compete in new ways. That afternoon, she introduced something new. Today we will do group work, she announced. The cubs stared at her. Group work meant sharing credit. It meant helping others look good. It meant putting the team before yourself. It was the hardest lesson yet. Yuna divided them into 3 groups of 4. She gave each group a project: build the tallest tower you can using only blocks and teamwork. Bora and Kira ended up in different groups. They looked at each other across the room. The message was clear. May the best team win. Bora's group struggled at first. He was used to doing everything himself. When another cub tried to place a block, Bora's first instinct was to push them away and do it better. But then he remembered the rules. Help others, work together. He took a deep breath. Duri, he said, his voice rough and unused to kindness. You are good at finding the flat blocks. Can you find more? Duri's eyes went wide. Bora had never spoken to him nicely before. He nodded quickly and ran to find flat blocks. Tay, you have steady paws? You place the top pieces? Tay stood taller. No one had ever said he was good at anything. Slowly, the tower grew. It was not perfect, but it was theirs. Every cub had helped. Every cub had mattered. Across the room, Kira was having her own struggles. Her group had strong personalities. 2 cubs kept arguing about the best way to build. Kira wanted to take over, to do it all herself, but she knew that was not the point. Stop, she said quietly. Everyone looked at her. The runt rarely spoke up. We are all smart, she said. We all have good ideas. Let us try each idea for 1 minute. Then we choose the best one together. It was such a simple solution, so obvious. But no one had thought of it because no one had ever tried to work together before. They tested each design, they voted. They chose the best parts from each idea and combined them. Their tower rose higher and higher. When time ran out, both towers stood tall. Kira's group had won by 2 blocks, but Yuna did not just reward the winners. Every group worked together, she said. Every group helped each other. Every cub in this room earned a sticker today. The nursery erupted in joy. Cubs hugged each other. Tails wagged. Happy sounds filled the air. That night, Thesa found Yuna sitting alone outside the compound. The 3 suns had set, and the sky was full of strange stars. I do not understand you, Thesa said. Yuna looked up at the ancient matriarch. What do you not understand? You reward them all, even the losers. Does that not make winning meaningless? Yuna shook her head. Winning is never meaningless, but neither is trying. Neither is growing. Your cubs learned more today from working together than they would have from fighting for 100 years. Thesa sat down heavily. Her old bones creaked. I have lived for 400 years. I have seen countless cubs grow and fight and die. I thought I knew everything about my people. She paused, her diamond eyes reflecting the starlight. But I did not know they could be this, she finished. I did not know they could be kind. Yuna smiled softly. Every creature in the universe wants the same things, matriarch. To be seen, to be valued, to belong. Your people are hunters? They will always be hunters? But now they can hunt for things that matter more than meat and blood. Thesa was quiet for a long time. What happens next? She finally asked. Yuna's smile grew wider. Next week I introduced the top student star. She held up a single sticker. It was larger than the others, pure gold with a brilliant shine. It seemed to glow with its own light. Only 1 cub can hold this title each week, Yuna explained. It is the highest honor in the classroom. Thesa looked at the sticker. Such a small thing. Such a simple thing, and yet she knew it would change everything. The top student star changed everything. Yuna announced it on a quiet morning when all 12 cubs sat waiting. She held up the golden sticker, and the room seemed to grow brighter. Every eye locked onto it. Every heart beat faster. This is the top student star, Yuna said. Each week, 1 cub will earn this honor. The cub who works hardest. The cub who helps most. The cub who shows the most growth. Only 1. She placed the sticker on a small pedestal at the front of the room. It sat there like a tiny sun, glowing and beautiful. The winner also gets to sit in the special chair, Yuna added. She revealed a large, soft beanbag that she had brought from Earth. It was purple and covered in stars. To a human child, it was just a comfortable seat. To the Volari cubs, it was a throne. The silent war became a fierce battle. Bora threw himself into every lesson with new energy. He studied before dawn. He practiced after dark. He helped every cub who asked for help. He even started helping cubs who did not ask, just in case it earned him extra points. Kira matched him step for step. She memorized entire books. She wrote essays with perfect letters. She organized study groups for the weaker cubs. She became a leader without meaning to. The other cubs tried just as hard. Duri, who had been so slow at the beginning, now finished his work ahead of time. Hannah created a buddy system to help everyone learn faster. Tay read 47 books in 1 month, a record no one thought possible. The first week, Kira won. She sat in the purple beanbag with the golden star on her forehead. Her small body looked even smaller in the big chair, but her eyes were bright with pride. The other cubs looked at her with respect and just a little jealousy. Bora watched from the back of the room. His claws pressed into the floor. He wanted to be angry. He wanted to hate her. But he could not. She had earned it. The second week, Bora won. He sat in the chair and felt something he had never felt before. It was not the pride of defeating an enemy. It was the pride of earning something through hard work, through trying, through being better than he was before. Kira watched him with serious eyes. Next week, she promised herself. Next week it will be mine again. The weeks passed. The golden star moved back and forth between them. Bora won, then Kira, then Bora again. The other cubs won sometimes too. Hannah earned it twice, Duri once. Even little Tay managed to grab the title once through his incredible reading achievements, but everyone knew the true battle was between Bora and Kira. News of the competition spread across the Volari homeworld. Warriors who had never cared about education came to watch the weekly announcement. They did not understand why 2 cubs fighting over a sticker was so exciting, but they could not look away. The rivalry had become legend. By the 6th month, Bora and Kira had each won the top student star 17 times. They were perfectly matched. Every strength Bora had, Kira found a way to counter. Every trick Kira used, Bora learned and improved. The final week of the term arrived. Both cubs had perfect scores, perfect attendance, perfect behavior. They had each helped 3 struggling classmates. They had each completed every extra credit task. It was a tie. The whole compound gathered for the announcement. Warriors stood shoulder to shoulder with mothers and cubs. Even the Galactic Council had sent observers. Everyone wanted to see how the human teacher would handle this. In the old Volari ways, a tie meant combat. The 2 would fight until one surrendered or died. It was brutal but simple. Thesa stepped forward. "Teacher Yuna," she said formally, "the traditions of our people demand—" "I know your traditions," Yuna interrupted gently. "But this is my classroom. And in my classroom, we do things differently." She walked to the front of the room where Bora and Kira stood facing each other. Their bodies were tense. Their eyes were locked. They had been rivals for 6 months. Everything had led to this moment. Yuna reached into her bag and pulled out not 1 but 2 golden stars. The crowd gasped. "There has never been a tie in the history of the top student star," Yuna said. "Until today. Both of you have earned this honor. Both of you have shown what it means to be truly excellent." She placed 1 star on Bora's broad forehead. She placed the other on Kira's small one. "But that is not why I am giving you both this prize," she continued. "I am giving it to you because you taught me something important." Both cubs tilted their heads, confused. "You taught me that excellence is not about beating others. It is about pushing each other to be better. Every time one of you improved, the other improved too. You made each other great." Yuna turned to face the crowd. "This is what competition should be. Not enemies trying to destroy each other, but rivals helping each other grow. Bora and Kira are both top students because neither one could have become this strong alone." Silence filled the compound. Then, slowly, Kira turned to Bora. She extended 1 small paw. Bora looked at it. For a moment, no one knew what he would do. Then he reached out and touched his paw to hers. The compound erupted. Warriors cheered. Cubs howled with joy. Even the cold galactic observers clapped their various limbs together. Thesa stood in the middle of the chaos. Tears streamed down her ancient face, cutting wet lines through her white fur. In 400 years she had never cried. She had thought herself beyond such weakness, but this was not weakness. This was something else entirely. This was hope. She watched Bora and Kira stand together, their golden stars shining. They were still rivals. They would always be rivals. But now they were something more. They were friends, and that, Thesa realized, was more powerful than any weapon her people had ever created. 10 years passed like a dream. Admiral Una stood before the Galactic Council in the Great Hall of the United Worlds. She was older now, her black hair streaked with gray, but her eyes still held the same warmth they had when she placed that first sticker on a small cub's forehead. Behind her stood 2 Velari. They were no longer cubs. They were full-grown adults, massive and powerful, with fur like storm clouds and eyes like diamonds. Anyone who did not know them would have been terrified, but everyone knew them. Dr. Kira led the Velari cultural exchange program. She had written 12 books on peace education. She had trained thousands of teachers across hundreds of worlds. Around her neck, preserved in a small crystal case, hung a faded golden star, her very first sticker, kept close to her heart for 10 years. Ambassador Bora had negotiated 17 peace treaties. Wars that had burned for centuries ended when he walked into the room. He spoke softly and carried no weapons, but everyone listened. On the wall of his diplomatic office hung a frame containing 43 stickers, carefully arranged by date. Each one represented a lesson learned, a victory earned. A step forward, the council president, a being made of living light, floated at the center of the great hall. Around him sat representatives from every known species in the galaxy. "We have gathered to discuss the Velari miracle," the president announced. In 10 years, the most violent species in the galaxy has become its most sought-after peacemakers. Their scholars lead our universities. Their diplomats resolve our conflicts. Their methods have been adopted by 100 worlds. He turned to face Una. "Admiral Una, you started this. Tell us how." Una smiled. She had told this story many times, but it never grew old. "I did not do anything special," she said. "I treated them like children, because that is what they were. Scared, confused, hungry children who wanted to be seen." She paused, remembering that first day. Humans have known something for a very long time. Every child wants to be told they did a good job. Every child wants to feel proud of themselves. Every child wants to belong. It does not matter if that child has fur or scales or 8 legs. The need is the same. She gestured to Kira and Bora. "I did not tame these 2. I did not make them weak. I gave them something to earn, something to strive for, and then I trusted them to rise." Dr. Kira stepped forward. Her voice was soft but carried through the entire hall. "I was the smallest in my litter," she said. "I thought I was worthless. I thought I would always be the one pushed aside, forgotten, ignored. Then a human woman gave me a sticker and told me I did something wonderful." She touched the crystal case around her neck. "That moment changed my life. For the first time, I believed I could be more than what others expected. I could be excellent. I could matter." Ambassador Bora spoke next. His voice was deeper, rougher, but equally powerful. "I was the strongest," he said. "I thought strength was all that mattered. I thought crushing others was the only way to prove myself. Then I saw Kira with that star on her head, and I wanted one too." He shook his massive head slowly. "But Teacher Una would not give me one just because I was big and scary. I had to earn it. I had to try. I had to help others instead of hurting them. That was harder than any fight I have ever been in." The council listened in silence. "Humans are strange creatures," Bora continued. "They are small and soft and easy to break. But they understand something that we did not. They understand that true strength is not about defeating others. It is about lifting others up." The president absorbed this. "But how do we replicate it? How do we teach other species this method?" Yuna reached into her pocket and pulled out a sheet of holographic stickers. They sparkled in the light of the great hall, small and simple and absurdly beautiful. You start small, she said. You find what each species values, recognition, approval, belonging, then you create a way for them to earn it. Through growth, not violence. She walked to the president's podium and placed a single golden star on its surface. The method is not complicated. See the good in someone? Tell them about it. Reward the behavior you want to see. Trust them to become better. The president looked down at the tiny sticker. He was the leader of 1,000 worlds. He commanded fleets that could destroy planets. Yet looking at that small golden star, he felt something strange stir inside him. He wanted to earn one. I think I understand, he said slowly, behind Yuna. Bora leaned close to Kira. I still have more stickers than you, he whispered. Kira did not look at him. Only because I let you win that mathematics competition in year 3, I won that fairly. You copied my answer for question 7? I did not copy. I observed, that is copying with extra steps. They continued arguing in whispers as the council discussed the future of education across the galaxy. They had been arguing for 10 years. They would probably argue for 10 more, but their arguments no longer ended in blood. They ended in laughter, in grudging respect, in the strange, warm feeling of having someone who pushed you to be better. After the meeting, Yuna stood on the observation deck of the council station. The galaxy spread out before her, millions of stars burning in the darkness. Somewhere out there, on hundreds of worlds, teachers were using her methods. Cubs and children and hatchlings of every species were earning their first stickers, feeling their first moments of pride. Kira joined her at the window. Do you ever regret it? Kira asked. Coming to our world? Teaching monsters like us? Yuna laughed. You were never monsters. You were just children no one bothered to teach. She pulled out her last sheet of stickers. There was only one left, a golden star, just like the first one she had ever given. I have been saving this, she said. For the right moment? She reached up and placed it on Kira's cheek, right next to the crystal case that held her original sticker. That one is for becoming the person I always knew you could be. Kira felt tears sting her diamond eyes. She was not supposed to cry. She was a Velari. She was strong, but she cried anyway. Thank you, she whispered, for seeing us. Yuna hugged her. The tiny human woman and the massive Velari scholar, standing together at the edge of the galaxy. That is all teaching really is, Yuna said. Seeing people, and showing them what they can become. Behind them, Bora watched with jealous eyes. She got another sticker, he muttered. I want another sticker, too. Some things, it seemed, never changed, and humanity would not have it any other way.